When America was discovered, it was just as if they had found a big apple pie. All the countries of Europe wanted a piece, and they usually were not very polite about it. They forgot about the owner of the pie, the Indian. Come on, I'll show you a little pie stealing on my time machine.
Jacques Cartier looked over the Indian village of Hochelaga with satisfaction. Being treated like a god was embarrassing in a way, but after all, they were lucky savages. These primitive children of nature were about to become part of the great new Empire of France, a glorious opportunity for Indians to become civilized. Cartier sailed up the mouth of this mighty river, past beautiful meadows just waiting for the touch of the plow, and saw huge forests whose trees would supply lumber for the houses of French settlers. This island, with the mountain looming up behind it, would be just the place for the ceremony. The cross was soon ready, and the men gathered together. Jacques Cartier, as the duly appointed representative of the King of France, took possession of these lands in the name of the Crown. And in honor of His Majesty, he called the place Mount Royal. The Indians were impressed by the ceremony, but had no idea of its meaning. They graciously offered to show the Frenchmen around their village. It was very well planned. The entire town was encircled by a strong wall of pointed logs. There were racks with hundreds of salt fish drying in the sun, and fields of corn planted in neat rows. All this failed to impress the French. They had seen the glittering palaces and luxurious homes of France, where the dog kennels were better built than these wretched houses. These people were so simple-minded that they were exchanging magnificent furs for a handful of cheap glass beads.
Simple-minded, eh? Maybe they didn't wear silk stockings, but they knew things about the woods that these city fellers had to learn the hard way.
Cartier decided to stay until spring, instead of risking a winter crossing of the Atlantic. It was a winter such as they had never experienced. The cold was intense. The ships were locked in the ice, and 4 feet of snow lay on the ground. It was almost impossible to get through the snow with a load of firewood. The Indians were amazed. The gods had fire sticks and giant canoes, but they couldn't do a simple thing like making snowshoes. So the Indians gave them some, and after that it was a great deal easier to bring in firewood. But that wasn't the end of their trouble. The constant diet of pickled beef and biscuits gave the whole crew a disease called scurvy. Again, the Indians helped them. They cooked up a broth made from the bark of trees, which contained the vitamin C missing in their diet. Without this life-giving broth, they would have all been dead in a few weeks. When spring came, the French were ready to leave, in good health, thanks to the Indians. So the Indians waved farewell to the white gods, not realizing that the very ground of their ancestors had been claimed by the people they had helped through the winter, and that they would soon be back to occupy it.
You know, usually I tell you about some silly invention that I've dreamed up, but not this time. I want you to think about what you saw. Friendly people extending hospitality to strangers, not realizing that these same strangers were going to rob them of their land and even kill them if they resisted. This story is only a small part of the sad history of the American Indian.